Welcome, my name is Jessica Iddings, and I am excited to be with you today. Today I get to teach you how to teach out of Class in the Box. And I also want to start with just giving you some simple tips on how to set up a successful class. When we start getting excited about the oils, we want to share with our friends and family, but we oftentimes have this little thing called fear creep up, and it kind of gets in the way. So I want to share with you how to overcome that fear, but also of how that all you have to do is share from your heart and how simple it really is. So for starters, when we set up those classes, I want you to keep it super simple, meaning that you don't need to have a big spread of food out. You don't need to overcomplicate it with lots of drinks. All you need to do is have some water for your guests so that you can let them try some of the essential oils in their water. Have your diffuser going, and of course, those oils that we are going to be talking about. Those are your staples. And when we show how simple it is, it oftentimes lets people in the audience say, wow, I could do that too. And that's what we want. We want to make sure that all of our classes that we are teaching give the impression of how easy they are, because they are, and that it excites them to maybe want to host their own class. The next thing I want to talk to you about is the actual class itself. Now remember that the class actually starts as those guests are walking through that door. Sometimes we tend to get busy and we actually can ignore them as they walk through, and that trust that they have in you will start immediately from the time that they see you and their first impression of you. So I always tell people that we don't have to sell the oils sell themselves, but we have to sell ourselves. They have to know that we genuinely care about each one of them. So I like to have a simple conversation. Hello, how are you? Welcome. I'm so excited you're here. Maybe ask a few questions. How was your day today? What if they have kids? Ask about their kids. What that does is it gives you a little bit of insight into your guests' lives, that when you're going through the class, if you think of an oil and maybe someone said, yeah, my son, they woke up and they were having a hard time with any kind of respiratory issues. When you come to that oil, you can look right at them and say, this would be the oil that would be really beneficial for your son. And again, you're making that connection. You're showing them that you listened to what they were saying as they came to that door, and you're creating trust right from the get-go. Remember that once you welcome your guests and you get that class started, to keep engagement is also important to smile as you're talking. Be excited about what these have to offer. As you're talking about specific products, make sure that you're passing them around so they can smell them, that they start to feel the way that they work with their body, whether that be just applying to their skin, whether you're having them take a deep inhalation of that oil, or even showing them the diffuser and how it works that way. But constant engagement is really fun, and it makes the class exciting, and people learn better as they're engaged with you than just you talking at them. Ask questions. Ask if they have anything specific. Maybe you have a couple people that are at your class that have actually tried oils. Ask for just a really brief little testimony of how they have helped them. Keep it brief. That's one thing that I like to say. Does anybody have like a 30-second testimony on how Breathe has helped them or how lavender has been calming for them? Just to open up that conversation so that it actually shows more validation too, that it's not just us, but there's other people in that room. Now, not always are you going to have someone that has been to a class or that has had an interaction with oils, but even asking that question keeps it simple, and it still is a really good idea to pass around and maybe share one of your experiences, as long as you keep your experience brief too. This class is really about those people sitting in the chairs wanting to know what is going to help them. People are desperate every single day for a solution, and we have that. And so we got to make sure that we listen more and talk less. And yes, we're talking because we're teaching a class, but we also have to listen to the feedback that we may be getting as we're sharing some of these oils. So remember, always make this class about them and really listen. And remember to keep your classes short. I like to keep my classes between 30-45 minutes max, because the magic happens after the class. So after I gave them all this goodness and all this excitement of how they can really empower their lives, I then want to be able to have time to sit with them and ask them, what was your favorite part about the class? Was there anything that stood out to you? So that we can work on a plan for them and how they can get these oils into their home. If we overtalk and we extend the class, what happens is people have to rush out, because we have to value people's time. And most people attending classes, they might be working, or they might have small children and they want to get home for that bedtime, or they have to get up early for work. And so we just want to respect them enough to know that we are valuing that. And so we're keeping the class simple, we're keeping the amount of time that we're teaching short, and then we're letting the flow happen as soon as we end that class. Another important step to remember is as we're teaching is always to talk about lifelong vitality. Oftentimes people feel overwhelmed by this because you're talking about vitamins and, there's vitamins in everywhere we go, right? Every single grocery store we go into, people can get vitamins and we're just not sure how to talk about them. So I would encourage you to study up on them because this is the pipeline to our business. And when we talk about vitamins and share how different our vitamins are, it actually really draws people in to think about what are they putting in their body. And I really love the fact that our vitamins work with our body and they actually make the oils work better. So find your 30-second little speech on LLV and include it in every single class. It doesn't have to be much. I mean, you can literally read off of the box, but it's important that you cover it every single time because you want people to be drawn in for more. And we love the oils. I mean, I always tell people, I'm obsessed with these oils, but also I love the fact that I can have nutrition and my supplements and be healthy from the inside out. The last step to a successful class is actually the close. And sometimes that's the scariest, where people think, oh my gosh, now I have to be a salesperson. Remember, we are selling a product, but we're also sharing an opportunity. So even though in the beginning it feels like we're selling, I really encourage you to get over that and remember that we're giving them an opportunity for a whole new life, for a natural life, for options at their fingertips. And you just gave them amazing information. How would it feel if we didn't share how to get that? We want to make sure that they have all the knowledge they need. Now, with those kits that we share, remember to cover every single kit. A lot of times people look at the diamond kit and they're scared to bring it up. They're like, I can't ask someone to bring, to spend $2,600 or whatever the cost is of those kits. But guess what? There is something in all of us that's a little bit psychological that when we see those larger kits and we see the larger prices, by the time we get to the natural solutions or the home essentials, those prices look really affordable. And so it shows everyone an option. I always kind of make a joke about it too. I'll be like, all right, who today is going to get the diamond kit? And people raise their hand and we'll laugh and we'll say, wouldn't that be nice if every single one of us could start with that? But guess what? It's okay that we can't because we have all of these other kits that are affordable. And we have kits in every single price range. So don't be scared by that. In fact, be encouraged by it. Make it fun and be confident. Because remember, when you're confident, they can feel that and they really know that you're simply there to have the best products, the best prices for their best needs. The last part to closing that I think is important is people actually do really well when we tell them what to do. Just like our kids, right? We tell them all the time, go brush your teeth, go make your bed, and they listen. And so same thing when we're teaching a class is I instruct them what's next. I'll say, okay, now turn to the last 2 pages, which is the actual wholesale agreement, and you're just going to fill out that highlighted section. So as you're filling that out, I'm going to come around and help you choose the kit that's best for you and your family. And it's amazing how many people immediately turn to that page and they start writing down their name and all of the information that we need to collect from them. So sometimes it's just us taking that extra step to tell them what is the next step for them. If you want some tips on how to teach a successful class, watch the Natural Solutions class video and really take down some notes on what you like about that class, some of the ways that we word things, but then add your own style to it and really create your own class where people can see that it's really from you. In the beginning, when I first started teaching classes, I would watch the same video over and over again, and I would just listen to how they worded things, and then I made it my own. And now it is just simple. It's as simple as getting up in the morning and brushing my teeth. I know how to teach a class. I just make sure that I do the simple steps of relating with those people that are coming to my class and then reminding them of how precious these oils are. A lot of times we can think about if we don't say everything perfectly, right? We think we have to say this oil does this, this, and this, and what if I don't give enough information? But sometimes we can over-inform people. And so it's okay in the beginning if we just really read from the class handout. That's perfectly fine. In fact, I encourage you to do that because again, it just shows people how simple it is to teach a class. As we start teaching on our own, oftentimes there are things that come up in classes and we need to know how do we deal with those certain situations. This is very normal. In fact, I would be shocked if any of us had a class that we taught that we didn't have to somehow kind of reel the audience back in or figure out how to deal with certain situations. It's kind of like a learning curve, and it actually builds character in us as individuals and as leaders to make us stronger people and be able to teach others how to overcome objections just as well. So one thing that I see happen a lot is we sometimes get chatty Cathys in our class. They're excited. They start smelling the oils and they want to ask many, many questions as you're trying to teach a class. So sometimes I'll actually start the class by saying, Hey guys, I know that everyone is limited on their time and I appreciate and value each one of you. So I'm going to ask that everyone hold questions to the end. That way you've already set the expectation up of kind of what you want that class to look like. Now there's still going to be times that Chatty Cathy starts talking. And sometimes I'll say, you know what, that is awesome. Let's talk more about that at the end of the class. I'm not making her feel devalued. I'm not saying like, please be quiet. I'm just letting her know I hear you, but right now I need to continue finishing this class up. So that's one way to handle it. Another objection is people start to fear the unknown. What if no one shows to my class? That fear is really real. And I set up all this time and I have, my water out and I maybe hired a babysitter for my kids. And guess what? There will be times no one shows. In fact, we all have those classes. We still have those classes, but you're still going out, you're putting everything together and you are ready to show up for anyone that is showing up for you. Don't be discouraged by this. Everyone lives busy lives. Just remember that sometimes you just have to set the second class up, and then that's when they're going to show up. Or offer to meet people one-on-ones. There's many ways that we can overcome that objection, but that often is probably one of our scariest ones, is just really worried that no one's going to show up to our class. The great thing is your family and friends that are starting to support you, they tend to show up, or ask your mom or your sister to come because they never let us down. Another thing that I hear a lot is, what happens if someone says, I don't have any money for that kit, or that kit's too expensive? Sometimes that moment all of a sudden hits us and we're like, oh, I'm asking them to spend money they don't have. And we're actually not. We are showing them what those kits look like, and then we're just showing them the opportunities. When people will say like, oh, I wish that I could, purchase this kit, or I wish I had that kit, I'll be like, well, you know what? The great thing with doTERRA is there's many ways that we can start on this journey. I would really encourage you to write down the most important things right now that you want to address, and then let's reevaluate what those kits look like. And sometimes we can't put a price on being able to have those at our fingertips. We can't put a price on maybe not missing school for our kids as much, or us not missing work because our kids are homesick. Sometimes it's just showing them that bigger picture. And oftentimes you take them from a bigger kit to a smaller kit, and that's okay too. I don't get caught up in having to sell the biggest kits. What brings me joy is knowing that someone walked away with oils that day. So remember that even if they start with a $35 membership fee and 3 oils, they're at least getting those oils into their home. That's going to open them up to new possibilities for their family. Another objection that we come across, and in fact I still come across, is that people ask questions that I don't know. And sometimes that can feel a little bit scary to think, what if I don't know? But guess what? We don't have to know everything. And in fact, one thing that I love about not knowing is I get to learn. So when people bring up objections in class like, hey, I don't know this, or what is this good for? I'll be like, you know what? That is an excellent question, and I don't have the answer, but let's find the answer together. So we'll go to our resources and we'll start looking it up, and we both have that freedom of knowing that we are just taking charge of the health together, and we're finding new solutions. So it's okay if you're not the expert in that. Just remember that you're still learning. We all are. In fact, that's what is so fun about this, is we're learning every single day something new. Lastly, I really want you guys to think about something. It's really easy to focus on all the fears that could happen, the what ifs. But what if we focused on all the amazing things that could come of that class? Look at the positives. All we're doing is showing up. We're showing up with tools in our hand to empower others. Be authentic to who you are. Be genuine. Really make this class about them. And I promise you, all the things that you fear will completely disappear. Because when we show up with our heart to be genuine and to listen, we can't help but just really show up in a way that people can feel it, and they want more of it. They want more information. So don't live in the fear. Live in the yes. The yes, I can do this. The yes, I have what it takes. The yes, these oils are amazing. The yes, they're going to want to learn more. And the yes, that they came to us. And think about how powerful it is when that first person comes to that class and says, oh my gosh, thank you so much for opening me up to new possibilities. It takes everything away that we once feared and puts that feeling of just gratitude for, you know what, I'm so thankful that I set up that class. Because if I didn't, I wouldn't be able to empower other people. So let's not live in that moment. Let's live in the moment that is all bliss and is just happy about what is to come.